We have Cece Olisa and Nicole Ari Parker, who are going to have an amazing conversation. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Cece is the founder of CurvyCon. She's a Tedx speaker, and she says she's a person who can be fit at any size. Woo! Nicole Ari Parker is on a little show that you might know. It's called Empire. And she's also the creator of the Gym Wrap, which you're going to hear all about. And her foundation just joined Gain Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition. And they're going to tell you all about that.
Hello? Hi! How are you?
Good.
How are you? Woo! Now we're going to discuss some talking back, so I need you guys to perk up for me, okay? As she said, my name is Cece Olisa. I'm co-founder of the CurvyCon, and I am a TEDx speaker. My TEDx How to Build Self-Confidence is in my Instagram bio, so if you want to check it out, you can. I am so honored to share the stage with this powerhouse. Hi.
Hi.
So I feel like what I would love to do, Miss Nicole Ari Parker, is have you introduce yourself as if there is a random stranger in the room who has never heard of you.
Well,
we're going to pretend.
It's possible.
I doubt it, but let's try.
Well, I first want to say that if you haven't listened or seen her TEDx talk, I advise everyone to Google it and listen to it. It's really powerful. It's a really powerful, 11 minutes that are life-changing. And so let's give it up for her, too. I'm Nicole Ari Parker. What else do you want me to say? I'm a mom, I'm a wife, a businesswoman, and we're going to get into a little bit of that today.
All right, let's do this. So I would like to set an intention. If you guys were with me in the earlier session, I think it's important to do that. Nicole Ari Parker has been kind enough to give us her time. So I think it's important for us to all just be in this space right now. I think there's a lot that we can learn from people who are leaps and bounds ahead of us. So I'm in a sponge moment right now. I'm ready to soak it in, and I hope you guys are too. Can you just take an inhale with me? Exhale. One more. Exhale. One more for the Holy Ghost. Inhale. Exhale.
Oh, I like that. End of the day. Yes.
That feels so much better.
Yes.
Okay, so we were talking backstage a little bit. I am Nigerian, and I was...
And I am from Baltimore.
I was so excited seeing you in West Africa over Christmas.
Yes.
Can we talk about this?
Well, my husband is German. His mom's German, and his dad's West African and Ghanaian. And so we've been taking the kids the last couple years, and then last year was a very big trip. We brought friends, and it just turned into this thing because, Ghana and the coast, like in Nigeria, the west coast of Africa, that's the heart of the slave trade. And on this side of the pond, we only learned from the plantation on, maybe a little bit about the Middle Passage. But along the coast, there are castles where the trading actually happened that are still standing. So it's very powerful, to experience that. And there's also music and food and culture and jewelry and fabric. But it's a really powerful trip, and we did it with Bozoma St. John, who's goddess and trailblazer, and it was just good for the kids too. We trying to go every year to keep their history alive.
Do you feel like you guys started doing that trip more once you guys had kids, or was it something that you guys always did together as a couple before?
Well, we went once as a couple. He wanted to show me where he's from. Again, I'm from Baltimore, so he speaks 4 languages. I speak Baltimorean.
Don't you guys say John? That's a John?
Well,
Isn't that
we say Doug. It's time to walk to Doug. It's just we digress.
The whole thing?
It's a whole thing.
Okay, that's fine.
I need note cards and bullet points, and so so that's the West Africa trip, and it's really becoming a thing. I mean, it's a real In fact, this year, 2019, is the 400-year anniversary of the beginning of the slave trade, and it's called the Year of Return. So there's a lot of festivals. It's going to be popping up on the news and everywhere about the Year of the Return, and that's what that's about.
I think that for me personally, being Nigerian but born in California, right? So I have definitely the Black experience, but also the Nigerian experience. I think there's something very powerful about knowing where you come from. So it doesn't matter if your history is that of a Black person, a brown person. do that DNA test.
Italian. I
Figure
encourage
it
that
out.
too with a lot of families who are, German and American or Guatemalan and Jewish. There's intermarriages or only one parent speaks a certain language. You must teach your children your language. We have to raise global citizens now. And I remember my kids are Black and they speak Spanish, English, and German and Ebonics. And it's my part. And we had neighbors, Mexican neighbors, and our kids played together all the time. And the grandfather was over for the cookout, and my kids, because the Mexican family was totally Americanized, and they didn't teach their sons how to speak fluent Spanish, and they were completely integrated into society and totally American. And so my kids were talking to abuelito.
I love it.
Yeah, and they were like, "What?" I was like, "Girl, my Black kids speak more Spanish than yours. This is not good."
This is weird. So for me, when I think about stuff like knowing my past, something that I talked to the girls about in an earlier session was that for me, my business is based on 3 pillars. So purpose, platform, and profit. And the purpose is the first part. I think a lot of people come into entrepreneurship and stuff like that with profit on their mind, but knowing things about who you are, where you come from, how you want to serve the world.
That's the operative word, because service is the grease on the wheel. Yes, you're going to get this great idea, but unless you can find the part of it that is actually either benefiting someone, helping the bigger picture for everyone, or solving a problem, it's going to be almost difficult. Just energetically, that's good to start your business with a service quality to it, but also it opens more doors for you in terms of investing, customer, how to market, who to partner with if somebody's bigger than your brand. Service is just a really big quality. For example, do you want me to go right into it? Because
go right into
time
it.
is
Let's
flying
do it.
by. My daughter was born with spina bifida, and new marriage, first child, high maintenance lifestyle. Now we're on accelerated. Fast track on how to be married. We have to solve problems. We don't have the luxury to fight. We have to make up because we have a daughter who needs us. We have to fast track emotionally to build her confidence. So spina bifida is a neural tube defect, and it affects everything below the belly button, the legs, the bladder, and the bowel, but it manifests differently. The spectrum is very wide. You might see a child in a wheelchair and you think it's muscular dystrophy, but it might actually be spina bifida, all the way to my daughter who can walk, but she doesn't have bladder function. She uses an intermittent catheter every 3 hours, but that's her normal. It's like a child that has to give themselves insulin. The parent really teaches their child that. And I tell you that because it's going to come back around. Because I ended up having a double service initiative built into my profit.
Okay. Tell us more.
Married, same thing, mother, just expanding, eating, anxious, depression, all these things. Married to a hot husband, healthy, doesn't drink. And so, I just wanted to, he always wanted to find, the reality of date night for people in long-term relationships is really not happening unless you, walk the dog together. So he used to say, honey, let's go on the beach, let's do that. And I just got to the point where I just wanted to rest. And then I wanted to work out. I wanted to, and I wasn't trying to get skinny or anything. I just wanted to feel good again. And I sat down at my table because I wasn't working out, because I was tired, but also because I just got my hair done, right? And so I was weighing the two, and by then he had already been to the beach and back. So I sat down at my table about 6-7 years ago, and I had the idea, and this is usually what happens. Everybody got the idea for the straw at the same time, right? And one person listened. Or the paper cup, and then Dixie happened, right? So I listened, and I listened in spite of my fear. I wasn't didn't have a business degree. My husband did, but I didn't have a business degree. I didn't know how to get a patent, start a website, any of those things. But I had an idea. I need to create a sweatband that actually absorbs sweat. Then I said, okay, well, how do I solve my own problem? I wear hair extensions, I wear braids, I wear my natural hair, I wear my natural hair blown out straight. And so I needed to create, now I have 3 different sizes. But I'm not a seamstress or anything, so I cut up all this material, I tested it. Make a long story short, I got a business partner, I got investors, which is a very hard part. My first round was actually from my mom's friends because I got rejected from a bunch of rich people. And because proof of concept wasn't there, I forgive them. Even though they
regret it though. But, they regret it.
Well, sometimes I like saying I'm in 4 major retailers now. But I had to know, but I understand their position. But so I made this product. Now the first thing about the product was that it was an idea, and I was afraid, and I did it anyway. The second part was getting it on its feet. I had to ask a lot of questions. I had to admit that I didn't know a lot. I got a business partner. I did a business plan. I did a round of investing. I had to roll, and then I did a website. I got a website made, and then I had a little bit of. I wasn't using my celebrity at all because I just didn't know what I was doing. And then Steve Harvey, and I always give him credit for that, he let me go on his radio show when I was finally up and running, and I mentioned my new product, and the website crashed. I sold everything. And I thank him for that. I'm getting a little choked up about that because the first thing I wanted to do about the product was how do I solve this problem for women? We always are choosing, well, the kids, but then I can't, and then the job, but then I can't, and then the school, and then I can't, and then my business and the money, and I was like, okay, how do I do all of this? And it just crescendoed, and I wanted to solve this problem also for women because that year that I created it, the Surgeon General who, under Obama, Dr. Regina Benjamin, she had just written an article in the Washington Post, I think, that said 70% of the things that were affecting Black women were preventable. And so that meant that diet and exercise was a big part of that. And then I knew a woman who worked in the store where I went to get groceries, and she wasn't there anymore, and she was 24, and she had a stroke. Right? This was happening for real. So I wanted to really give women, Black women, a tool. Let me tell you what happened. All that money I made that first round, I put it right back. I really wanted a new purse, but I put it right back into the business. I did media buys. You know all those late night talk shows? I bought on, of course, my sweet spot was my demographic, so on BET, Aspire, TV One, but I also took a risk. And I bought time on the Tennis Channel because it's an athletic accessory. Tennis Channel was my biggest return. So all my white athletes out there, woohoo! Who played tennis and volleyball and run on the beach, they loved it because it actually worked.
Can I say something? I just feel like for those of you who are listening to this story and you're like, but I don't know Steve Harvey, but I can't buy, coffee, let alone a media buy. I think there's something to be said for listening to the steps of what you did.
Yes.
You had the inspiration and you took action. That didn't cost anything.
Yes.
Taking action didn't cost anything.
But let me encourage people that remember, I went around and asked the rich friends and the rich friends' friends, and nothing happened. My mom said, baby, I'm gonna make a lunch. You come home to Baltimore and I'm gonna invite my friends. And these were women with established money and their savings, and they wrote me checks. And all I needed to start was maybe $60,000, $70,000. It wasn't a lot of overhead. And actually, I didn't really know to over ask, so I asked for exactly what I needed. But if you get as far as a website, You guys know now it's normal. We know how to boost and promote and get it out there and tag this person, put it in this celebrity's gift bag, make calls. We all know that hustle. So that's your Steve Harvey, is what I'm saying. He was the catalyst for my expansion, but we all know how to self-expand now. I mean, just in 5 years.
For our business, we sold the clothes out of our closets
Yeah.
to our fans for seed money.
Yeah.
Like, your investor
There's
could be
a
your
way.
mom's friend. It could be anybody.
There's a way. So what I wanted to encourage you from this passion and purpose-driven idea, because the money, remember, my daughter was born with special needs. I started a foundation very selfishly to talk to other parents. I wanted to invest in the offshoots of research with stem cells and all kinds of stuff that the bigger organizations weren't doing. But I didn't know how to create chicken dinner fundraisers twice a year. So I have a product that's serving women, putting a fitness tool, and the profits are going to the foundation. So now I have this circular thing. You know, Samantha was teasing me. She's like, I don't know how the spina bifida and the gym wrap and your acting career go together, but it's your life, and I know it's working. So they all fed each other, and it was very satisfying. And the funny thing about the celebrity, when you want to get into Target and you want to get into Walmart, you got to roll your little suitcase to Bentonville just like everybody else. They didn't care that I had a hot husband on a TV show. Yeah. That wasn't, you know what I mean? Yes. Nobody cared. I had to go and I had to pitch to buyers. Nobody knew who I was. They didn't care. It was all about numbers. Yes. And I had to sell myself. So that's a skill that everybody can practice and work on, and it's just part of the business. But it's come full circle, and there's still a lot of work. I had a lot of ups and downs, new business partner, new manufacturer. But, you know, it's doable. That's the thing. And you aren't going to know things.
You never know what you don't know.
But you can ask, you know, and you can pray, and you can sweat, and you can not give up. And I'm living proof of that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, please follow Nicole Ari Parker on Instagram and check out all the amazing things she's doing. Thank you for everything.
Thank you for having me. Woohoo! This is so awesome. Thank you.